Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have signed 17 players to future contracts. That essentially means that they will be on this roster going into the 2025 offseason. The following players have been signed: safety, Marcus Banks; wide receiver, Marquez Callaway; cornerback, Dallas Flowers; defensive lineman, Mike Green; offensive lineman Garrett Greenfield; linebacker Antonio Greer Jr., linebacker Daniel Grigiak; offensive lineman Luke Haggard; wide receiver Dennis Houston; linebacker Deion Jones; wide receiver Tanner Canoe; offensive lineman Lorenz Metz; offensive lineman Raekwon O'Neal; quarterback Michael Pratt; tight end Tanner Tuula; running back DJ Williams; and safety Rashad Wisdom. Let's go ahead and go down this list real quick. Firstly, Marcus Banks, practice squad player throughout the entirety of this year, will be depth. Marquez Callaway is a bit of an interesting name. He was actually brought to the practice squad whenever the injury to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans occurred, and he's been on the practice squad ever since. Is still pretty young. I believe he's 27, 28 years old, so maybe some type of veteran-ish addition for the Bucs later on down the line. I liked him when he was brought in. It seemed like a lot of you guys were interested by him as well. Former New Orleans Saint, so it is kind of fun to get a former rival player joining the mix. Dallas Flowers, veteran cornerback; defensive lineman Mike Green; another veteran D lineman Garrett Greenfield. I talked about him. Liked all the different types of things that happened at South Dakota State and what they were able to do as a college organization, so he might be some interesting developmental tackle. Antonio Greer Jr., there's still a lot of fans of Antonio Greer Jr. out there. He's been on and off the active roster this year in terms of promotions, then waiving, then elevations, and all the different types of things, so I think he could be in the mix for some linebacker depth, especially whenever you think about this upcoming offseason. KJ Britt's contract is going to be expiring, so maybe you have Greer there to battle it out. Greer Jr., same with Grigiak, very similar thing there. Luke Haggard, another developmental offensive lineman. Dennis Houston, kind of a veteran-ish wide receiver. Deion Jones is interesting to me. Very interesting, because in that playoff game against the Commanders, you saw the Bucs rotate J.J. Russell, KJ Britt, and Deion Jones. And honestly, like, Deion Jones felt like the best and was even specifically asked about Jones after the game. Todd Bowles said, like, hey, he did some things well, tackled well, played well, and he might be a guy to possibly compete for, I'm not going to say a full-on starting linebacker job this upcoming season, but he is only 30 years old. You know, hey, maybe could be very solid veteran depth at the absolute minimum. Shout out Deion Jones. Tanner Canoe, I'm a fan of his. Thought he did some really good work in the preseason. Lorenz Metz, big German offensive lineman. Like him a lot. Raekwon O'Neal, another big offensive lineman. Michael Pratt is interesting to me. Michael Pratt is a quarterback out of Tulane, was a former 7th-round pick of the Green Bay Packers, is now, or was signed to the Buccaneers practice squad, elevated at some points of the year just so teams would not sign him away. That gives me an indication that the Bucs like Michael Pratt a lot, and whenever you consider that this upcoming offseason, Kyle Trask's contract is expiring, does make you kind of think, is Michael Pratt the backup quarterback of the future here, or at the bare minimum may compete with a veteran, or maybe the Bucs do bring back Kyle Trask. I don't know, but it should be interesting. Tanner Tuula, backup tight end. DJ Williams, a backup running back who did a couple of interesting things in training camp and preseason, and then Rashad Wisdom, another interesting backup safety, and I think could be somebody. I liked Wisdom in the preseason and whatnot. I thought he made some good plays. Same with Marcus Banks. So happy to see those two young safeties get back in there as well. But a lot of names here, folks. Again, a couple of the more interesting ones to me is Callaway, Banks, and Wisdom at safety, Antonio Greer Jr. at inside linebacker, Deion Jones at inside linebacker, and Tanner Canoe at wide receiver. But what kind of names are jumping out to you guys in terms of some interesting names of these 17 players? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Obviously, a lot of this is like, for lack of a better word, like roster filler, right? Like, you got to have players going to the upcoming offseason. So these are still guys that the Bucs are going to work with and try and develop here going forward. Whoever the head coach may be, whoever the coaching staff may be, you're still going to have some pieces there. You're still going to have some guys. So let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, guys, I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now. See you soon, and go Bucs.